As your representative, I swore an oath to defend the Republic against enemies foreign and domestic. America needs to revive tradition. America needs to revive virtue. America needs to revive the hope that springs eternal from the transcendent teachings of a humble carpenter who died upon a cross. Government can supply bread, but it can't mend a broken spirit. Mother Teresa was once praised for her social work in India, and she replied, "We are not social workers. We do this for Jesus." No secular government, no social worker can claim the same motivation. No government, no law can force a people to be virtuous. Our churches, our schools, our parents must fill that void. This isn't the norm now. Speaking of a revival, speaking of our values, is sadly considered nonconformity in this day and age. In other words, I think we must do something our world often tells us not to do. Seek God. Walker Percy laments in The Moviegoer that we've left no room for the seeker. Maybe our country's revival depends on seeking and rediscovering the synthesis of freedom and tradition. Some seem to believe you must choose. It's either liberty or virtue. That to be virtuous, you can't have too much freedom. This is exactly wrong. Liberty is absolutely essential to virtue. It is our freedom to make individual choices that allows us to be virtuous. Government can't impose virtue. We must impose it upon ourselves. Now, this doesn't mean that government shouldn't or can't reflect our values. It must. The First Amendment is not about keeping religious people out of government. It's about keeping government out of religion. Some seek to separate the issues of our day, separate our debt from the issue of life, separate our charity from our education, separate our values from our government. This doesn't work. Obamacare tries to force us to separate our faith from our business. Fortunately, the Supreme Court thought otherwise. Reagan understood this unity of message when he wrote, "We do not have a separate social agenda, a separate economic agenda, and a separate foreign agenda. We have one agenda. Just as surely as we seek to put our financial house in order and rebuild our nation's defenses, so too we seek to protect the unborn, to end the manipulation of school children by utopian planners, and permit the acknowledgement of our supreme being in our classrooms." Amen. As Christians, we should always stand with the most defenseless. I believe that no civilization can long endure that does not respect life from the not yet born to life's last breath. The debate isn't really about whether government has a role in protecting life. The debate really hinges on when life begins. I've held 1.5-pound babies in my hand. I've seen them sucking their thumb on an ultrasound, and I've seen surgeons operate on babies still in the womb. So don't tell me that 5- and 6-pound babies have no rights simply because they're not yet born. That's right. I'm one who will march for life and will continue to stand up in defense of life as long as I'm privileged to be in office.